Good. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on our call of how to be a happy hypnotist. Um, I hope that let me double check. Okay, looking good. Sorry about that. I'll have to edit this out maybe. Okay, cool. All right. All right. How to be a happy hypnotist. Sorry about that delay. Here we go. I thought I'd do this because, we're getting ready to start the summer. We're going into what I call the season of conferences, and a lot more seminars happen in the summer. I'm getting ready to get busy again. A lot of things are happening. And I just wanted to go over this because I think it's very important. That's all. So when you look at this, how to be a happy hypnotist. Why did I want to talk about this? Well, it's no secret that most hypnotists stay in the field less than 3 years. That most of us start this field with some kind of passion. But of course, passion can fade with time. And a lot of people want to stay in hypnosis but can't, for they're not making enough money, or other things are going on, or they have we'll get into why, right? So they end up leaving the field frustrated. Right? Many that stay are underemployed, and they're frustrated. And underlying it is they want to help. That's why a lot of people jump into this field. They want to help other people. So why does this happen? Well, I'm sorry, I wasn't showing my thing. Let me go back. So anyway, how to be a happy hypnotist. Again, it's no secret. Most hypnotists stay in the field less than 3 years. It starts with a passion, but it fades with time. Most want to stay in the field, but can't. Many stay or underemployed, but underneath it all, we want to help people. Now, why is this? Well, there's no clear goal or plan about our field. This is what happens. And there's a low entry into our profession in both time and money. So people jump in without thinking it through, right? And because of that, they fall for the easy money lies that you're going to work a few hours a week and make $2,000 a week. Okay, yeah, that's great if you could do it, So then you start chasing the easy money lies, and of course it's going to just frustrate you even more. And most people don't realize that their frustration carries over into their work. And then what happens, of course, people misapply what I call success. The rules of success, or we'll get to that, right? And of course, being with unhappy people. Both, by the way, in the field and out of the field. So here's what's tried. Unfortunately, people listen to stupid advisors or mentors. And who's a stupid advisor or a mentor for someone in our field? Well, that's someone that's never done it. Unfortunately, some of the people that have never done it are giving the most advice. I hear it at conferences and around things like this, and they've never done what they're teaching other people to do. And then what happens, people start telling the lies, and then the lies become the truth, things that really don't work. Like to build, people come in the field and they go, yes, I want to do this for a living. This is what I want to do for a profession. Great. So they start listening to people that they start giving them advice, but guess what? They have a full-time job doing something else. Right? So they're given, and then some of those lies that keep getting passed around. Oh, well, first of all, you go to every Rotary and Chamber of Commerce meeting and this and that to network and build your business. Well, I tell people to go to the Rotary and the Chamber and all that. It's not to build your hypnosis practice. If you're going to build a school, that would be better. But it's a place to go to practice your speaking skills. You're not going to really build a practice there, right? And yet, it's written and written and written by people because they're parroting things other people have said. I tell people I mentor, if you're going there to practice your speaking skills, great. if you're going there thinking you're going to get clients, it's probably not going to happen, right? And of course, part of that is not doing your due diligence when you come in the field. It's easy to fall for the stupid lies because you're not really following up, right? Does the person really that you're going to listen to, do they do what they tell you that they're doing, right? And of course, the other big problem that's happened is you follow someone else's plan for what success is, right? So anyway, how to stay a happy hypnotist? Well, first of all, look at those that have been in the field for 20 years plus, right? 20 plus years, and they're having fun. You have to look and know the signs of burnout. You have to admit your weaknesses and failings. You have to develop a mindset of happiness as a hypnotist. And then to do that, you have to find your path. You have to find your path. So here are the steps if you want to be a happy hypnotist and stay on this field a long time. Not be one of the ones that's in and out relatively quickly. First, you have to realize the driver that got you into hypnosis and NLP in the first place. What drove you into the field? Then you need to develop your goal of success. What is success to you? And then you honestly, and this is where a lot of us fail, you need to learn as much as possible about our field. You don't stop with your basic NLP course, your basic hypnosis course. Excuse me. And you have to stay current. How do you stay current? Well, you go to conferences and meetings. You read. We'll talk about that. I'm always surprised. Our field, if we want to call it a field and a profession, it seems like I go to conferences, and at one time I went to every hypnosis conference except for one or two in the field of hypnosis and NLP, probably all through the 90s. IMDHA, IAC, when they were separated, went to each one. I went to the Hypnosis Hall of Fame. They had a conference. Of course, the National Guild, I've been going there for 26 years. The Mid-America. There, at one point, they had a Mid-America and a Midwest. Jerry Kine had a couple of conferences. There was a conference in Arizona that has since stopped. But there were several. I would go to all the conferences. Why? Well, to network, to do this. Also to learn as much as possible about our field. I took it as a profession. I try to go to one of the psych conferences every year or every other year because that's my other field, right? So you have to learn as much as possible about our field. You don't stop with your basic training, right? And then that helps you stay current. Going to conferences and meetings helps you stay current. A lot of the areas of the country, you have like NGH chapter meetings or IAC chapter meetings, or just now a lot of places I know they kind of combine and call them hypnosis meetings, right? Also, by staying current, going to all these conferences, it does help you develop humility, right? That, hey, there's a lot of really good people out there, right? And this helps you work on your mindset because you have to work on your mindset constantly. The bad thing about learning hypnosis and especially NLP is it brings you out of trance. So you walk around the world seeing the world for what it really is, not what you want it to be. And then it can upset you, or it does me sometimes. Because I walk around going, don't you people see this? Right? Well, but they don't. They're in trance. Right? And then you have to know your burnout signs. So what is your driver? What got you into hypnosis and NLP in the first place? What's your driver? Maybe it was a problem. You went to hypnotist, stop smoking, lose weight, overcome childhood trauma, phobia, whatever it was. And what I really see happen, maybe they've tried therapy, they might have tried medical, something to overcome a problem. They go see a hypnotist, a helper, boom, the problem's fixed. Now, wow, this was so cool. Of course, you want to help others. People want to help others. In some ways, it's in our genome, right? We're herd or pack animals. We're hunter-gatherers, which usually is tribal, right? So to do that, you share. You want to help others. And also, sometimes it's just one cool, interesting topic, hypnosis. I can tell you for a fact, if I meet people and I say, I'm a psychologist, it gets one response. Oh, you're psychoanalyzing me? Usually all stuff like that. But it's usually like, that's nice. Oh, cool, whatever. But if I say I'm a hypnotist, it's a different, people love it because it's an interesting topic. So now, So you got to figure out what your driver is, because we're going to come back to this to use your driver. So what is your success? What do you envision success to be? So is it 10 clients a day? Is it 10 clients a week? Is it going to, speaking at a couple conferences? Is it living as a hypnotist? All your money comes from hypnosis. What is your vision of success? So you have to envision that, right? Now the stars up there are for me, because I fell into this, and I have a tendency to think that other people should have my idea of what success is, becoming a full-time hypnotist, right? And I've really mellowed over the last few years, because, I've had other jobs I really like. I went in, became a clinical director of a psych unit at a prison, so of course my practice went down to almost nothing, but I was enjoying it, right? I've been the clinical director of a substance abuse treatment center. It looks like I've taken a sabbatical from the one. We reorganized it. Now they're going through some management changes. And it looks like I'm going back. I like it. So that, then I'm not technically a full-time hypnotist. Now I'm doing hypnosis at the alcohol and drug treatment center. I was doing NLP a lot at the prison, because that was more covert, right? So what is your vision of success? What is your personal vision of success? So what will you see, hear, or feel that'll let you know that you're doing it? Right? And then you have to realize when is enough. Because if you really get into this, and it's easy to jump in and really build a big business, but if you don't have your vision of success, you'll never stop. So when is enough? I fell into this a couple times where, I had 3 offices, people working for me, and actually, to be honest with you, it wasn't as profitable as an office I had that was just basically me, a part-time receptionist, and 2 rooms, 2 treatment rooms, and a receptionist, a little office, and 2 treatment rooms. Right? It was actually more profitable. So when is enough? Right? And that helps you stay true to you. And if there's one way to be frustrated and upset, is to live someone else's dream. Another way to stay happy and stay in our field is to take classes, webinars, and read, right? Go to conferences and meetings, as I said. Conferences are great. There's Florida. There's one in Florida every year. Of course, the National Guild, the Mid-America. Shelley Stockwell has one out in California. I think there's still another one out in California. Used to be several. But there's conferences that you can go to. And then there's meetings. If you're in an area where there's an NGH or an IACT or just a hypnosis meeting, or start one, right? Because they're fun. It's a place to network. You need to read researchers. In my e-zine, I try to put in research. We have a research scientist now. Captain Billy Schilling is a retired Navy captain, still does research for the government, and he's a research scientist for the Smithsonian, and he's always sending me all this cool research, finding it, He got me to start reading these different magazines. So I'm always trying to put research out there that either directly relates to our field, or the research can be applied to our field, which makes us look more current, and it helps you stay current. Ooh, what's out there? There's one that that proves what we always said in hypnosis. The mind doesn't know the difference between a real or a vividly imagined event. Well, with the new research, they're finding out this is true, right? Which helps you stay current, so it helps you grow. You have to reach out to other people in our field. Reach out in different areas. Learn a lot of different things, right? The oxymoron is you expand but you have to stay true to your core. So you expand your knowledge, but you know what your core is. My core is NLP and then hypnosis. And then, the things around that. And it goes out. Yes, I know EFT. Yes, I know some other things. But you know your core. But by expanding, like learning the EFT, back when I learned it was TFT, it links back. I've studied color therapy. It kind of, that's kind of cool. It links back. All this other stuff neurology that I study, but it comes back to my core, right? Now, what is humility? Why is that important? Well, first of all, you have to realize you're one of the 1%. Remember, a couple of years ago in the election, they talked about the 1%ers, or that was the 90, yeah, that the 1%ers. But in this case, it's not about income. It's about actually, it's less than 1% of the population that knows of our art, hypnosis and NLP, and its true power, right? And then the core of the humility is that you're a conduit, right? It's the techniques. It's not just you. The techniques work in and of themselves, and this helps you drop the God complex. Oh, it's me. Only I can get these results with this client. Well, a good teacher would probably show you that there's many different ways to get the result. Client wants to stop smoking. Well, you could do regression. You could do some NLP techniques. Maybe EFT would work. Maybe this would work. Maybe there's a lot of different techniques. It's the techniques. It's not just you. Now, you bring yourself into it and you make it your unique art. But you know what? There's a lot of people out there, and it helps you grow, because humility is teachability, an open mind to the truth. If you start thinking it's you and your way, and that's the only thing, you're going to kind of sabotage yourself, and it's going to cause you to basically burn out even quicker. Now you have to work on your mindset, right? Stay positive. To me, there's nothing worse than a negative hypnotist or NLPer. And I would put psychologists because I run around with them. There's a lot of negative psychologists, right? But to me, that's worse, because we, especially hypnosis and NLP, we have the skills to try to flip our mindset, right? And of course, one of the things we tell people, stay around positive people. When I work in addictions, why do we tell people go to 12-step meetings, go to AA meetings, NA, Narcotics Anonymous meetings? Well, you want people that have like mindset. So if you want to stay positive, you got to stay around positive people. One of my rules, if I know you're real negative, you don't stay around my circle very much. I don't want you around me. A couple people I was pretty close to, they went down that negative path. God love them. I pray for them. I send them energy. I don't want their energy around me, because I don't want to flip into the negative, right? And to do that, you have to work on yourself and keep growing. And how do you do that? Well, use our art internally. Do you use hypnosis? Not just self-hypnosis. Do you find and use another hypnotist, right? At the center I worked at, that alcohol and drug center, the chiropractor we used, he'd come in and adjust our clients. He was the chiropractor for the other chiropractors. And he made that comment. He goes, I wouldn't go to a chiropractor that doesn't have a chiropractor. So I asked him, who's your chiropractor? He named a guy. It's next town over. He goes, I see him every couple weeks. He goes up, he gets an adjustment. Because if you believe your art, are you using it? That frustrates the shit out of me at a conference. When's the last time you got hypnotized? Well, and not just self-hypnosis. If you find another hypnotist, another reason to go to meetings and conferences, you meet other hypnotists, swap services. What are you working on? Oh, I'll hypnotize you. You hypnotize me, right? And again, if you start thinking, well, they really can't help me. Only I can help myself with self-hypnosis. Well, then, okay, climb up on the cross, because obviously you think you're the next coming. No, use our art. Find people, right? Exchange CDs with people. I list other people's CDs all the time to change my mindset, right? So use our skills. Here's a mindset bonus, right? I've talked about this a couple times. Find and pursue other passions besides our hypnosis and NLP. One of the things we jump in this field, hypnosis, NLP, oh my God, I just want to live, breathe it. This is all I want to do. So real quick, what are Orman McGill, Jerry Kine, Tom Nicole, I think I spelled his name wrong, Elsom Eldridge, Dwight Damon, Scott McFall, Richard Bandler, Cal Banyan, John Grinder, George Bien, yada, yada, yada. I could name other people. What are all these people I would consider excellent hypnotists in our field, long time, or, they're great. What is it they all have in common? Well, they all have passions outside of our just hypnosis and NLP, right? Orman McGill, was a performer. He liked magic. Of course, he was a magician. He'd study magic. He taught magic. He got into other things. I talked to him, and he loved watching singers and performers and comics. He had passions. It wasn't just hypnosis, and he brought that passion into his hypnosis. Jerry Kine, over there in Deadland, Florida, as I call it, for years his passion was flying. And then, of course, he had a couple of heart attacks, had to quit flying. But he still enjoys talking about flying. He reads about flying. Last time I was at his center and we were talking, he had a flight magazine there, and we talked about that. He was a scuba diver, right? He goes through different people that know him well tell you, he got into having this, well, he called it a motorcycle. I call it a scooter. But he got into that, and he knew all about it. I'm like, fast. He gets into things. Tom Nicoli, again, he's a musician, plays his guitar and sings. Elsa Eldridge, magic. He studied magic and performing. He directed plays and things like that. Dwight Damon, performing and magic. Of course, he was a magician. Great guy. Was the ringmaster of a circus for 40 years. Scott McFall, magic. A lot of people get into magic in our field, right? Richard Bandler, again, a musician, played the keyboard, sang, played a couple other instruments too. It's his other passion, talks about it, brings his passion into it. Cal Banyan with his motorcycles and a couple other things. John Grinder with his love of the outdoors and studying languages and going and doing things like that. George Bien, another musician. I mean, the list goes on and on of people. Lisa Halpin. They have passions besides our hypnosis and NLP, because passion is an organic experience and it flows back. So if you have your passion in one, you got your NLP and hypnosis, it can ebb and flow. That's what passion does, right? You've been married many, many years. I'll tell you, passion ebbs and flows. But if you find a new passion, something related, wow, not related necessarily, but it'll bring back the passion in something else, So and then if you can tie your passion into your art, right? So what else interests you? Wow, this is kind of cool. And passion is wonderful because people like people with passion. Because most people walk around, why is sports so fanatical in the United States? Well, people don't have anything to be passionate about. They're not really passionate about their jobs. They do their jobs, but they're passionate about whatever it is. So passion is wonderful, right? And now here's one I have to work on. That's what the stars are at the bottom. Study those opposite you. Read and study those you do not agree with. Maybe their ideas of hypnosis or their ideas of NLP. Sun Tzu used to say you have to know your enemy. Study your enemy. And I'm not saying they're your enemy, but it's like, because when I read about that, it opens my mind. I find, wow, I didn't know they thought this, or I didn't know that. Interesting, right? And it brings in new possibilities. I'll read something from someone that's not my thing, but it'll open up a possibility. A couple of the techniques I came up with, they were direct results of reading about some stuff with that someone... I don't agree with their philosophy of hypnosis, let's say. But after I was reading about something they were doing, I like, you know what? This makes sense to me in a different way. And I applied it to what I do. Then what you have to do is really look for signs of burnout, right? What are some of the signs of burnout? Anger, resentment. You start, being mad at people that are successful, right? Instead of saying, that's wonderful, you get anger and resentment at them. You start getting fear about everything, right? And then you get to apathy, where you just don't care about anything, about our field, about anything, right? You might experience weight gain, right? Loss of drive, sex drive, energy drive, exhaustion, right? Because you have no passion. Your passion just disappears. You don't care about anything, kind of movie comes out. You want to go see that movie? Nah, really. You want to do this? Not really. Right? And again, burnout can happen a lot of times. It's because you don't have those outside passions. And so you hit that critical mass point in our field where it just burns you out, you know. And you have to realize that burnout can happen, right? So the answer to burnout is self-care, right? Because we get so caught up in helping others, sometimes we lose sight of self. We have that Superman attitude. I can handle this. I can do it, right? Which is part of denial. That we all have limits, right? No realization that compound stress builds over time. There's a little bit of stress in work maybe because let's say you got a practice not going quite as well as you want, so there's stress there, and then maybe that causes some friction in a family, and then this and that. They build. One builds upon the other. You have to just accept this stress and that it happens. You have to be able to take a break, walk away, right? I had a mentor tell me one time, it's important, especially with our skills, we could do this. When you're on a vacation or a break, to not mention what you do to anyone. Get other people talking about them. Oh, that's fascinating. What do you do? And if they say, well, what do you do? I work in an office. It's boring. All right. Get them talking about you. Right? So that's truly taking a break from it. And again, if you network at conferences and meetings, it lets you know you're not alone. Other people go through this, I'm burned out, this, that, and the other thing. And that maybe times are tough in certain areas, things like that. Lets you know you're not alone. And again, if you have another passion, maybe it's time to jump back in and do that. I know in my case, when I need to take a break, I go do a play. I get in a play. It's another passion. And I know that seems like, and even my wife will tell you, when I get in a play, my business improves, my attitude improves. Why? Because it's firing up that passion. I've been taking my acting classes again, and singing classes. And that helps fire me up. It lets me know I got a lot to learn in a lot of areas. Right? Right now I'm trying to take acting classes on how to act for the camera, film acting, which is much different than stage acting. You can be excellent at one and not really be good at another. Right? And so it's interesting. So back and forth, just like I tell people when they call, I train as somebody who wants to learn stage hypnosis. And I said, well, just because you're a good clinician may not make you a good stage hypnotist. In fact, it's easier to take a stage hypnotist and make him a clinician than it is to take a clinician and make him a stage hypnotist. This lady, she'll probably be fine because she's a comic anyway, right? And so she's already got the stage skills. I don't have to teach a lot of things I'd have to teach, timing, pacing, this and that. She has that. We're just putting together the hypnosis skill sets, right? You also have to realize that it's okay to refer out. There are certain people I just don't want to work with. I want to refer those people out, right? And again, that drops the Superman attitude. Certain types I can't work with. I'll find someone for you, right? So stay happy. So you need to find your drivers and your passion and follow it. Grow and expand as a human. Be a human being, not just a human doing. So get into the being, the moment, right? And not just do things to do things. Have fun with your hypnosis. That's the way to stay happy and stay in this field. And don't be afraid to take a break from it. So till next time, use the force. It's with you always, as they say, right? So, and if you haven't, please sign up for my newsletter at www.nfnlp.com. I'm constantly offering webinars and, like I said, the research and the things that I do. So, again, thank you for being a part of this. Stay happy and enjoy the process.